Hey guys. So I keep seeing everybody post pictures on the Peekaboo shirts, so I figured I will give one a try. I haven't done it yet, so this is going to be a learning curve for me, but I have a bunch of the patent shirts left over from when I would do a bunch of HTV. So I'm going to put this purple shirt, but I already had this one printed out, so I'm going to put Beetlejuice on him on the shirt. So we're going to go ahead and give this a try. So I had this polyester material that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. It's 100% polyester. I was actually going to make a tube top for a wedding dress that I was in that was very low cut. And I was going to dye this or sublimate it the same color as the dress, but I didn't end up needing to do that. So I have this lying around. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it a quick cut to work around my image that I have on there. So obviously you can see I have him much bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out a little bit bigger than what I need, since I need to put the heat bond on it, and I really don't want the heat bond across the image. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger than what I need, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to use this is a metal edge ruler. So I'm going to use this with my Fiskars cutter, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut, but I'm going to leave an edge around it. So I probably have about a ½ inch on this side, about an inch on this side. This side has the seam on it where they had it cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick cut on these edges. Like I said, bigger than what my image is going to be. So then I'll show you what this looks like. All right, so I cut that off. I'm going to take where these dots are, must be where it was rolled over or something when I got it from Hobby Lobby. This material was super cheap, and you can see it's pretty see-through. So I'm going to go ahead. My press is heating up right now, but you can see that this will fit perfectly fine. The shirt that I'm putting this on is a medium, so you want to make sure that whatever image you do will work with the shirt size that you're putting on there. I mean, you can obviously go across the entire front half of your shirt if you wanted to, but I try to keep this where it'll make sense on a shirt, so it's where an image would be. I don't want basically the overlap. I don't want that cutting right over the girls. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-press this once my press comes up. Don't forget to lint roll this. This is white, so you want to lint roll it a lot to make sure that there isn't any issues. And I tear around the edges of my images just to try to cut down on any kind of marks. I don't really see any of the marks on this since the tears are going to be over it. And as I said, I haven't done this yet, so it's going to be a learning curve, but it doesn't look that difficult, so we're going to give it a try. As I said, I'm going to lint roll this really well. I have butcher paper that I always leave down. If my image goes through the bottom, I don't want it to go onto my press pad. So I'm just going to lint roll this really well. I don't want any of the glue flecks, especially not across Beetlejuice's face. So I got the design from a collaboration with Ran, and it was, I think, Simply Southern. I'll put the link on there. I'm not sure if the collab is available anymore, but I think you can buy the single digitals or transfers for it. So I am going to press this. I'm going to pre-press this really quick just to get my image straight. So I have my press set at, it's kind of medium to firm pressure right now. I'm going to lower it just a tad. Not like it matters, but like I said, you won't see the lines on this one. I have my press set at 390 for 60 seconds, which is kind of where I've been pressing most of my sublimation shirts and stuff on. So you can see here, this is the sheet. It is by no means perfectly square, so I'm not too worried about that. Here is my image that I'm going to put down. So you can pretty much put it any way you want. But like I said, this is going to go on a medium shirt. So if you look at it, this will be like that across the shirt. So he's going to be up there. You can obviously put it on the back too, so it doesn't really matter. Thinking I'm going to put it on the front, but I could change my mind. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this down. You can always trim the excess off after you put your image on. You can see around my paper that I have a lot. So I haven't decided if I'm going to trim it or not. We'll see how it goes. As I said, this is the first time I'm trying it. So we'll see how it comes out. And we will go from there. So I'm going to tape this down and we will get this pressed. Okay, got it taped down. I'm using koala paper. I printed this on my ET15000. I use Hippo brand ink for everything. So I'm going to do the 390 for 60 seconds. Then we're going to do the pre-press or the press on the image onto the polyester. Okay, so our image is done. You can see this is why I use blowout. Definitely do not want that on my heat plate. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this image off. I'll show you what this looks like. And the colors are fabulous. So you can see here, this is the 390 for 60 seconds. So now I'm going to prep the shirt. So I'm actually going to run upstairs and I'm going to grab my cutting board. Okay, so I'm going to pre-press the cotton shirt that I am going to put the heat bond and everything to. So I'm just going to grab my Teflon. Like I said, I'm just doing a pre-press on it just to get it flat. So we're going to heat press it for probably 5 seconds. Okay, so I pre-pressed this for like 5 seconds. I grabbed my cutting board from upstairs. Obviously, I have a cutting mat and everything on there, but I don't want to cut through. I just wanted something big enough to cut through without cutting through the back of the shirt. So he's going to have to go sideways so I can cover the entire thing. So you can see here that that fits on my cutting board. So I'm going to set my cutting board in here. Like I said, this is a Gildan medium shirt from Michaels. I grabbed them when they were on sale. Purple obviously is a Beetlejuice color. So I'm going to go ahead and place my cutting board inside of here so I don't cut through my back of the shirt. And so we're going to place this and I will show you how I'm going to mark it off so I know where my image is going. So I put my cutting board between 3 and 4 fingers down and I have it fairly square to where it would be centered on here. So here is my image. And I will definitely probably cut around this because I don't need this much extra around there. So all I'm going to do is just grab some heat tape. And I am going to mark on here with the heat tape to make sure that I stay within that line when I'm doing the cutting. So I can move him up. So I put it up here. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Let me bring it in a little bit since I'm going to cut this, but I want to make sure that I stay within that. So I'm going to put this tape right where the image is going to end. So I'm going to do the top and the bottom. So when I cut it, I know where I need to stay in between. So you can use an X-Acto knife. You can use a rotary cutter. I think I'm just going to use my rotary cutter. and I am going to cut this. Sorry, I have like everything all over the place, but I am going to go ahead and make some slits. So if you wanted to mark it where your lines are the same, you can measure it all the way up. You could put a piece of heat tape, like if you wanted to use the thinner heat tape or the thicker heat tape, you can put that on there so you know where you're marking. You can pencil it or whatever. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I just want to make sure, like I said, that I'm staying within my constraints of the tape. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cut it. So you want to make sure that you give it really good pressure to make sure that you cut all the way through. I don't think this is really meant to be like a perfectly straight strategic thing. I think it's kind of more of a, so I'm going to do them all in varying. You can do them however you want. This is just my take on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish slicing all of this and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've cut the whole thing. I'm going to remove my tape that I used for a gauge. You can use masking tape, which would probably be easier to see than the heat tape that I use. I just happen to have the heat tape like right there. So this is basically how it is. You're going to pull it to get it to come across. So when you pull the cotton, you can also make it bigger if you need to, but you're going to pull the cotton and that will give that effect of it drooping down. If you wanted to cut any more of your shirt, now is probably the best time to do it. Like if you wanted to cut around the neckline here and give it a V, you can do that also with an X-Acto knife. Would probably be easier than a rotary cutter since this curves around, since it is a crew neck. So I'll show you what this looks like in here. So I still have my cutting board on there. The cutting board, like I said, was just to make sure that I don't cut through my table and the back side of the shirt. So you're going to want to make sure that you have that taken care of. So you can see there's Beetlejuice. I will pull this more, but obviously this is going to drape too. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this inside out and put the heat bond on there. As I said, I'm going to trim this a little bit more because we definitely don't need that much excess. Oh, my son just broke an egg, so now the world's going to come to an end. So on this one, I had heat bond already. I've seen people use the tape, but I got this eons ago on clearance. It's Heat Bond Light. So we're going to give this a try. I use this on my son's Boy Scout patches to put them onto his stuff. So all I'm going to do is I am going to just cut probably about a ½ inch thick or so. So I'm just going to cut some of this off. I'm not necessarily worried about being perfect. If you're using the tape, obviously the tape is a specific width already, so that'll be easier. So you can see here it's got the hard side with the adhesive on it, and then it has the paper side. So I'm just going to do this for all 4 sides, and then we're going to tack this down. So I just grabbed my larger ruler, and I'm just going to cut this along the line. I'm not really worried about wasting any of this. Like I said, it's probably easier with the tape, but this is what I have, so I'm using that. So you can see here it will be a little bit bigger than what I need, but that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to do another piece just like that and cut that, and we're going to bond this to the cotton shirt. You can also sew this, but I am in absolutely no mood right now to pull out my sewing machine. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the heat bond that I already had. And we're going to go from there. So I'll show you how I'm going to tack it down. So I'm going to take these that I cut. As I said, you can cut them exact to size. I didn't measure this. I'm just doing it, winging it. So I've got these two for the top and bottom already cut. And then I'm going to do one for the sides. So there we go. So I have the 4 sides on there, and now I'm going to tack this down to the cotton shirt. I'm not tacking it down to this. I'm not going to press this until we're ready. So I'm going to tack the heat bond to the inside of the cotton shirt, and then the final step will be this, because I don't want to take any of the color away from this. Okay, so I am going to place the tape down so I can tack this down to it. Like I said, it's adhesive side down, paper side up for the first time. I'm going to use heat tape just to try to keep it in place so it doesn't move all over the place. So we're gonna put this down. So I'm gonna do the 4 sides like this. We're gonna tack this down in place. I'll show you how that's done. So I'm gonna put the 4 sides down, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I put the pieces down. I tried not to overlap them too much because I don't want it to bond to itself. So going by the directions on the back, it says basically just to tack it down for a couple seconds on medium heat. So I lowered the heat to 350. I'm gonna put a Teflon sheet over it. I also cut a piece of butcher paper and put the butcher paper inside of my shirt. So when I press my Beetlejuice onto it, I don't want it to press on the other side of the shirt. So I'm hoping not to get too much transfer on the cotton. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press this for a couple seconds, and then we're going to peel the tape off. So that's pretty much good. So I did it for 4 seconds. So we're going to peel the tape and see how it comes out. So I'm going to pull my press plate out. Like I said, I use the heat tape just to keep it in place. This literally peels off like double-sided sticky tape. And then I'm going to place the image that we pressed onto the polyester. So I'm going to peel the rest of this off, and I'll show you how to do the rest. All right. So we are going to go ahead and place the image. I don't know if you can see, but you can see how it's shiny. This is the inside of the shirt. I turned the shirt inside out. I put the heat bond on that. And we are going to go ahead and place the image to where I heat bonded it. I'm going to smooth it all out. Try to get it to catch on the edges. Joys of having a dog. Here. So there is the Beetlejuice image. As I said, I put the butcher paper inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Teflon sheet over this again. And per the directions on the heat bond, it says to place material adhesive side down on top of project. So it looks like press and hold for 6 seconds. So it looks like the press and hold. So I'm going to do this for 6 seconds, and we're going to see how this comes out. Okay. So we are going to see how this came out. As I said, this is my first one. So let's see how this works. I just want to make sure that it's bonded. So you'll see here, obviously I'm a little bit bigger than where my Teflon tape would be. You can also, so they do say that you can stitch over this. So if you wanted to stitch over it, this is stitchable. It says it's washable. It says it's permanent. So as of right now, I'm pretty well bonded. That's what it looks like. It looks pretty good. So I will flip it inside out so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these so they drape so you can actually see Beetlejuice. And as I said, if you wanted to cut out the triangle right there, you could. But you can see here it's very well bonded through the whole thing. So you're just going to want to pull it, and then that will come apart. Would probably do thicker if you wanted to. I think it just depends on what your image is looking like. But as I said, I did Beetlejuice, so I'm just going to pull it apart. I'm going to flip this on really quick so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here's what it looks like on. I'm just pulling these some more, but you can see here, obviously, he's pretty well on there. You can mess with this however you want to get this to the desired image. I think next time I do it, I would probably do these thicker. I'm gonna sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. So, but that is what it would look like with him on there, and you can see, obviously, that's what Beetlejuice looks like. And you can, like I said, play with these any way you want. But that is how I cut them. That is how I bonded him. But that's what it looks like. And you can see here, I did this on 100% polyester with the cotton shirt over it. And this is a cheap Gildan 100% cotton shirt that I had in my stash. Like I said, I would just mess with these until you get to the desired look that you want, but that's how you do it. I will put the information on there along with the link to where I got this image. So if you guys are interested, you can. You can also pull these too, because that'll change the way it looks. You can put these anywhere. You can do ridges down here, or you can do something on the sleeve. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet for him, but now Beetlejuice is on there. So I hope this helps everybody, gives you a step-by-step on how to get this done. As I said, I use the heap on. I can't feel anything here anywhere around, so that looks pretty good. And he feels pretty well bonded, so we don't have to worry about it. But I hope this helps everybody. Bye, guys.